Hey, good evening. I'm Chief Meteorologist Melissa Frey here at Alaska's news source, and I want to get you up to speed on this storm that is moving into western Alaska, already bringing impacts here through the day. We do still have another 24 to 48 hours, though, with this storm and some much more significant impacts that are on the way as we head through the night into tomorrow. So I want to make sure that you have the information that you need to know to stay safe. If you are watching from Anchorage, Fairbanks, Juneau, somewhere outside of western Alaska, but you do have friends or family out there, colleagues out there, I'd encourage you to share this with them so they have that latest information on this storm that again is making its way across the Bering Sea as we speak. If you are joining us on Facebook, hop in the comments, let me know where you are watching from, and if you do have any questions, and we'll get you up to speed again on this forecast that's making its way across the sea. I want to start out with this view from Golovin, looking at the comparison between yesterday morning, beautiful sunrise. You can see that glassy surface there of the Bering Sea. No impacts, even seeing some beautiful sunshine compared to just about 24 hours later. You would hardly even know that is the same location. You can see just how choppy the Bering Sea is as those winds are whipping up and moving here across again the area. These impacts are just going to get worse as we head into tomorrow, and the flooding is going to get more extreme from the wind. Hello to you, Helen, watching from Point Hope. Hello to you there, St. Paul. Thank you all for chiming in, and let me know what the impacts have been like so far there today with the wind increasing through the Pribilofs. We've seen some extreme wind today. Point Hope, wind is increasing for you tonight. I hope you are safe, and again, let me know what the conditions have been like there so far. This is what does it look like in Scammon Bay today. You can see the wind whipping on those gentlemen there with the poncho, and we heard that some folks were even having to wade out into what is already high water to retrieve their boats. That water pushing in, the high winds pushing in. Also a tough day to even get through any preparations just because of the amount of rain that we are also seeing for some western Alaskan communities. So tough conditions there, but again, the flooding hasn't even started yet. Look at these peak wind gusts so far today, 80 miles per hour just northeast of Unalakleet, where we've heard that there are already power outages there today. They are already working on school closures, government office closures for tomorrow. We did have wind gusts to 76 miles per hour further south, 67 just inland from Hooper Bay, 45 there in Kotzebue today. So these winds, again, just starting to increase. And this is a live view of the wind field right now. And you can see those orange colors indicating those more extreme conditions between the Alaska Peninsula, and you get to about the Kuskokwim Delta, and those winds will continue to stay strong in this area and pushing north overnight tonight and through the day tomorrow. So that is why we have widespread warnings and advisories all the way down the west coast from Ukqiavik all the way south into the Aleutians. Storm warnings, high wind warnings, and those coastal flood warnings as well. And you can see, looking at the satellite picture, look at the moisture stream coming in out of this storm, pushing all the way not only across the Bering Sea, but all the way down into the western Pacific. So again, just an impressive storm in its nature. It has already brought in 1.2 inches of rain today in Nome and Seward Peninsula, one of the areas that's being hit hardest with rain. About a half of an inch there in Kotzebue. You can see further south the rain not as extreme, but again, that's where we have been seeing the wind ongoing today. Tabitha, you're asking if there will be impacts in Nome. Yes, there is concern for some flooding there. In addition to those high winds tonight and tomorrow, it's really Nome Council Road as you head south of Nome that we could see some roads washing out and some impacts to fish camps there. And John, you're saying strong wind there in the western side of the state, lower Yukon. Yeah, I imagine strong winds and raining hard. I'm seeing that now. Watching from Hooper Bay, Jim, good to see you, Jim. I hope you guys are staying safe. The impacts will not be as strong as they were with Meerbach 3 years ago, just over a couple weeks ago, 3 years to the day. So the impact's not as extreme as what we saw with Mirbach, but some places are going to see conditions that are pretty close and the worst that we have seen since Mirbach. Hello to you, Arnold from Gamble. Just starting to see the winds picking up there. Flooding will be a concern for you as well. And you're saying huge waves there. Yeah, the center of this storm sitting just to the northeast of Gamble. So yeah, nothing new for you. You see these storms, I would not all the time. In fact, you haven't seen a storm this big in 3 years, but definitely not strangers to big storms for the western side of the state. So here's a closer look at the timeline of when I expect these impacts. So tonight, tomorrow morning, that's when we're going to see the most extreme wind. So when it comes to damage from wind, power outages because of the wind, those impacts are likely to hit tonight into tomorrow morning. Then we'll start to see the wind tapering off through the day on Wednesday, but that is when the flooding will start going. So late Wednesday afternoon is when you should start to see that high water, that storm surge pushing in, and those impacts will likely continue through Friday morning. So Wednesday afternoon to Thursday afternoon, generally speaking, is when we'll likely see the highest water. Again, the highest storm surge, the most impacts from flooding, but this will be a long duration event. So that water not completely receding and getting back to normal until we get into Friday. Now, when it comes to the rain, again, some areas like seeing heavy rain today, but that's going to end tonight. You will still see showers all the way down the west coast tomorrow and Thursday as well, but it won't be that heavy rain like some of you were experiencing there today. Here's a closer look at those wind gusts. So on this map, anything that is red or pink shows you where it is likely that you will see wind gusts of 40 miles per hour and higher. So again, that continues tonight into tomorrow morning. The entire Seward Peninsula, Norton Sound, all the way south into the Yukon Delta and Kuskokwim Delta, all seeing that more extreme wind. And then as we head into Wednesday afternoon, we still see those high winds for Seward Peninsula, but by the time we get to late Wednesday night, Thursday morning, you see those strongest winds have then pushed to the Arctic coast. So north of Point Lay, still seeing high winds for you on Thursday morning, pushing into the Arctic coast, but you'll start to see improvement from the Bering Strait south. So again, those winds will decrease from south to north through the day there on Wednesday. But again, you will see those more extreme winds for most of western Alaska overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning. Once we get into Thursday night, still some strong winds in Ukqiavik pushing over toward Deadhorse and Kaktovik, but seeing much improvement when it comes to wind for the western side of the state again as early as Thursday evening. Now, as this area of low pressure pushes to the north and east, you can still see that rain pushing across Norton Sound tonight, pushing inland across the Brooks Range, but that will start to come to an end once we get into Wednesday. So just scattered showers for the western side of the state on Wednesday. But looking at those conditions further inland, we are likely going to see some pretty heavy snow from this storm through the Brooks Range. Dalton Highway likely getting about 10 inches of snow from this storm in the higher elevations. And this will also bring heavy rain tomorrow, Wednesday, through the interior. But in South Central, I only expect the very southern tail edge of that to reach the Susitna Valley, where some showers are likely. But for the rest of Anchorage, Kenai Peninsula, cloudy conditions. Some light rain is possible on Wednesday, but I'm not expecting much. And then actually South Central and Southeast right back to dry and sunny conditions once we get into Thursday and Friday. But at that time, you can see in western Alaska, because those winds are still directly onshore, that is why we will likely continue to see flooding and continuing to see that storm surge pushing in. That will continue through early Friday. Now, the good news is once we get into Friday, there is a break between storms, but unfortunately there is another storm system that will develop in the far western Bering Sea that will move in at the end of the week and this weekend for western Alaska. and will not be anywhere as strong as the one that we're currently seeing, so we're not going to see a repeat of that. But if you're dealing with flooding, wind damage, power outages, all that impacts to water, it's just a bummer to have any storm coming through. So I do want you to be prepared for that next one. Again, if you are watching from Anchorage, from the valley, you're going, what is she talking about? Man, we are seeing beautiful conditions. Yeah, South Central ahead of this storm, seeing really beautiful conditions and warm temperatures here here at 7 o'clock at night, it is 55 degrees in Anchorage. That's not what you expect for an October evening. 45 in Fairbanks and 46 in Ketchikan. So warm conditions. That is going to hold another day. But as we look ahead, again, seeing mild temperatures across south central, chances for a little light rain, mainly north. High temperatures topping out in the mid to upper 50s. Through the interior, it's warm again, low 50s. Be prepared for wet conditions there, especially for Fairbanks and Fort Yukon. In southeast, just a little bit of cloud cover, but otherwise quiet weather for you. High temperatures back into the low to mid 50s, still close to 60. Another day there in Ketchikan. For the slope, it's also warming. We were talking about 20s and low 30s for the slope. Now barely even in the 30s in Ukiyavik, nearly 40 degrees there tomorrow. Prudhoe Bay up to 44. Temperatures are still warm along the western side of the state. Nome warmed 20 degrees with this storm today, and it's still going to be warm tomorrow. 46 degrees for the high in Nome. Still warm in Bethel at 50 degrees there, 53 in Dillingham, 52 in Galena, 44 in Kotzebue. So again, not to worry about impacts there in terms of temperatures. At least we're not seeing anything frozen. And as we look ahead for South Central, even though we'll see some cloud cover and chances for a little light rain on Wednesday, we will see sunshine once we get into Thursday and Friday, with high temperatures back into the low to mid 50s before we see rain showers returning as we head into the end of the week. If you don't have the Alaska's Weather Source app, I would encourage you to download it. It is a free download that you can get in the App Store on Android or on iPhone, and that'll give you the latest forecast. You can pinpoint it right to your community, so you can get the latest warnings, advisories for your community. You can get the forecast, which is updated multiple times a day by our team of meteorologists right here in Alaska, but you can also upload your photos and videos as you start to see storm impacts in your community. If you want to share that with us, you can do that with the weather app as well. It's really easy. You can just click a button, grab it from your gallery, and it'll send it to our team here in Anchorage. So again, the Alaska's Weather Source app, that is available for a free download. Now I do want to circle back again to the impacts from this flooding and take a closer look at the storm surge amounts that we are going to see from this coastal flooding. So I'm going to pull up this map for you here real quick and show you where those flood warnings are in effect. If you are in an area here that is highlighted in green, that is where we are expecting to see significant flooding. So again, that flood warning is in effect as we head through the day tomorrow, continuing into Thursday. And now is the time to prepare for this. If you haven't done so already, you still have a little time, again, before this storm pushes in tomorrow in terms of the flooding. You want to protect any flood-prone property. You want to be prepared for power outages, which, again, we are already seeing in places like Unalakleet. I haven't heard of any others. If you have, let me know, but so far I've just heard of power outages in Unalakleet. You want to avoid travel. When those roads are flooded, it becomes very dangerous to try and get across the community. So be prepared to stay put, again, unless you do need to evacuate from dangerous storm conditions. And you want to stay close attention to the local authorities for any closures or shelter information. We are already getting in information from Unalakleet, from Kotzebue, from Hooper Bay about school closures for tomorrow. There are offices and government offices that are closed for tomorrow, and already seeing some shelters that are being set up in places like Unalakleet and in Kotzebue. So we do have that information available on our website, alaskasnewssource.com, so you can get the latest information as this develops through the night and into tomorrow. We'll be sure to keep that updated and get you the latest information there. So again, looking at the timeline of this, again, the flooding is what is really going to kick in once we get into tomorrow afternoon. I know some people were like, oh, the storm came and went. No, the flooding hasn't happened yet. So you do want to be prepared for that pushing into the second half of the day, and we'll take a closer look at those storm surge totals of what I do expect pushing again across the region for you. I'm going to try and get this graphic going. We're doing this here in real time. Here we go. I think you can see this here now. So I'm just going to zoom in here on some of these impacts that I'm expecting in terms of storm surge amounts. So all of these amounts, again, less than what we saw with Mirbach. These are not record storm surge amounts, but they are the most that many communities have seen in 2 or 3 years. So if you know, again, if you've been there through Mirabach, you know what the flooding was like then. Some communities will see similar conditions. Some will see conditions not as bad, but still significant. So it really depends on the local community in terms of how much this water impacts your area. But places like north of Unalakleet, we're talking a 7 to 11 foot storm surge. So that is water that is up to 11 feet above a normal high tide line. That is very significant. For areas like Nome, it's 4 to 7 feet. That is why water is likely to push over the Nome Council Road. We could see erosion and washouts in places right along the coastline. Kotzebue looking at a 7 to 10 foot storm surge for you. Point Hope, 5 to 8 inches. The Northwest Arctic coast, 6 to 8 feet. I'm sorry, these are all in feet. 5 to 7 feet there near Hooper Bay. So just to give you an idea of what those impacts are like, we'll zoom in here on Kivalina. For Kivalina, areas that are at risk for flooding with these storm surge amounts include the school, the tank farms, most roads in the community, and the water pump station. So that just gives you an idea of some of the impacts that we are expecting to happen through the day tomorrow. And then I want to go over to Kotzebue and show you what the conditions are like there. Zooming in again, highest water levels will be between 4 o'clock Wednesday and 4 o'clock on Thursday. So still almost 24 hours from now before we see the highest water. So again, you do still have some time to be prepared for that flooding. It's the immediate coastline, those homes and businesses that will likely see some flooding. That does include the post office. Also, teacher housing is in that inundation zone, and the North Tent City Fish Camp also likely to see impacts from flooding. So those are just a couple impacts of individual communities and what that water looks like. Of course, every community is different, but most areas that are highlighted there in green will see some inundation and some flooding. So that is what you want to be prepared for, again, as we head through the day tomorrow. We want to make sure everyone is staying safe. Again, if you're in the western side of the state, you've lived there for a long time, you know the drill, you know how this goes. So just take the time to be prepared for it, and hopefully everyone fares just fine. And by Saturday, we will see what came and went, and hopefully get some sunshine out there and some drying time before that next storm system comes in. Now, again, if you are watching from Anchorage or from Juneau, we will not see the impact from the storm. Just a little bit of cloud cover, a little light rain is all I'm expecting. And again, if you are watching from Fairbanks, it is heavy rain and warm temperatures that you will see. Brooks Range will see snow, and out west is where we'll see the continued high winds and the continued flooding. Again, if you're just watching, we've already seen wind gusts of hurricane force strength. We've seen wind gusts to 80 miles per hour along the western side of the state, and we're going to see those strong winds tonight into tomorrow. So thanks for sticking with me through all of that. Just want to make sure that you have the information to be prepared, to be safe. Let us know if you are seeing any more extreme impacts that we should know about, things that we should alert the community. We will keep that live blog going through the night, through the day tomorrow as information comes in. If you're wondering if there's a particular closure or updates on power outages, we will work to get that information for you. So you can find that on Alaska's News Source.com, and also you can get your local forecast there as well. We've put up the weather forecast video for tonight. We'll keep that updated as well, and hopefully get you the latest information. So stay safe, everyone, and we'll see you right back here tonight live at 10.